And we're live.
Yeah. What's good, people? It's your boy, Icarus Gray.
Did you just Millie Rock?
Yeah.
And it's your homeboy Wordplay TJ.
And this is the Samurai. Whoa. This is the No Rhyme or Reason podcast, where we talk about everything.
Everything for no reason at all.
We back. It's been a long time.
Yeah.
We shouldn't have left you.
Without a dope pod to step two.
Step two.
It's obvious that we stepped away for a little bit, but we owe you all a review of Lupe Fiasco's Samurai. So we got a sponsor on this episode. It'll be Ground News, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. But before we kind of dive into the themes of this Lupe review, I want to share that my younger brother Proffit has an album out, Profficey Revealed Part 3. The Southern Strategy is out there on for you to listen to everywhere that albums are sold, preferably Bandcamp, where he actually makes some money. And then if you want to stream it everywhere else, then you can do that. We'll leave that link down in the description and on the blog post for you to check out. And we appreciate that. So let's jump right in to the themes of Samurai. Obviously, it is what Lupe has described as an homage to Amy Winehouse, as if she were a battle rapper. What do you think about that?
I initially was like, I thought it was just Samurai the track, and then he was going to be like a samurai all throughout. But upon like all of these multiple listens, the theming and the way he goes about sequencing the entire album, this 8-track album, was really immaculate with that theming and kept very well with like the music industry and in the current state of it.
Yeah, I think one of the things that I think about, or is at least challenging for me to consider, is this is Lupe in his abstract form.
Yes.
And that's my least favorite Lupe form. Every time he goes into abstract form, it's just difficult for me to keep up with where he's headed. I think all of his abstractions or levels of abstractions are not meant for the everyday listener, and they're cool to listen to, but that's what I end up just doing, is just listening.
This makes sense. And I think this is kind of like what you mean by abstract, if you're like putting it in the context of his albums and when he's in this abstract Lupe mode. Mm-hmm. I think Dragus Waves is one of those modes. The first half is him telling this story about slaves that have fallen off the ship, gained gills, and like, you know, they didn't just die during the transatlantic slave trade. Mm-hmm. And so that's the theming and the story for those tracks. And then it kind of goes into, you know, Don't Ruin Us, God Said, you know, in terms of drugs and stuff later on in the album, and kind of like goes away from that. But if you're not paying attention, you're kind of like, well, what happened to this part? I appreciated it for this, especially once I got it. Because initially, like, just listening to the songs standalone, mm-hmm. before you kind of get the tapestry of how he's connecting each of these songs to one another. Yeah. I'm like, oh, I like this one. Oh, I like this. Oh, I like the way this chorus goes. I can see the theming. And then you're like, oh.
Yeah.
Because it's so small. Like, much like when we were listening to Samurai initially, when we didn't get the Amy Winehouse reference, we're like, oh, this is a dope story.
Yeah.
And then upon like having that revealed to us and getting the information, it's like, oh, that makes this make more sense. And so I think he did that very well through the album with the theming in a way that I was like still over the moon about. I just think he is immaculate in doing concepts.
So the production obviously is soundtrack. There's not much here to say. This is a jazzier version of soundtrack, right? Which is he kind of ebbs and flows. I did hear a little bit of an interesting little like flourish in Outside that was really nice to hear, kind of towards the end, a beat switch that really showed Soundtrack's range. And so I just appreciate Soundtrack on this record.
I appreciate their combination because they just don't miss.
Yeah.
They don't have something to where I'm not like engaged in terms of sonically. Mm-hmm. And the way soundtrack goes about putting Lupe in the pockets that he needs to be in has always been amazing to me.
Yeah. It's the great producer rapper duo that I always talk about when I encourage musicians to start making music. If you're a rapper, I say go find a producer that you can connect with and never leave that person's side.
You become the best you when you have a producer that understands the best vehicle to not only give you amazing instrumentation and put you in the pocket, but it also elevates your style. Mm-hmm. The only other producer that I see like with Lupe that I'm like, I would like a full album from him and this person is Pharrell.
So now I want to bring us to our sponsor. This episode is brought to you by Ground News. So Ground News is an application. If you're tired of news bias and algorithms manipulating the way you see the world, Ground News is a perfect app to reduce that bias and analyze the factuality of your news sources. With Ground News, I monitor what's going on in the world of music, entertainment, politics, just to get an understanding of what to talk about on this show, talk about in my music advice videos, and how to discuss it. So get 15% off your Ground News subscription at check.ground.news/WPTJ. That's check.ground.news/WPTJ for 15% off your Ground News subscription. Now back to the content.
The two songs
I'm leaning on you for this one
that I've been thinking about for this lyrical breakdown, or things that I appreciated, right? Mm-hmm. I'm gonna rapid fire a couple things. So again, the samurai theming or the battle rap theming is all the way throughout, and the lyrical breakdown or the lyrics always come through with that, especially in samurai, mumble rap, Number One Headband, which Number One Headband, I love that a lot in terms of lyrical breakdown because that ties into Afro Samurai. Because I do believe that there is a duality in the lyrics between the story he's telling about Amy Winehouse and battle rapping and everything, and the also just his lyrical ability and his standing all together. The first place I want to start, though, because I think it's the most poignant as independent artists or artists in general, is Palaces.
Okay.
Palaces in and of itself, the chorus alone, like we've been talented all along.
Yeah, I've been so Palaces is something I heavily gravitated towards. And so this chorus is just immaculate. And I think Palaces has a connection to something that was on one of the previous albums. I can't remember which album, but I'm going to look it up.
I'm enjoying, so we've been talented all along. We think we're fortresses made of stone, but we're just palaces made out of flesh and bone, waiting on our time to shine to come on home. And then he gets into these three verses where in each of the verses, he's going through like a different prayer. And it's a different prayer to a different aspect of where you are in terms of the music industry. Genius does this little breakdown that I like really enjoyed. So it's like on Palaces, a little bit describes our hero's realization that perhaps fame was not everything he thought it would be, and how the longer he rises up in the world, the more he sees is the darker side of it, right? So he says the narrator struggles through hurdles such as attempting to appease both labels and fans, compromising his artist's integrity, losing his sense of privacy, and both being exploited, as well as then exploiting others, and is structured into three separate verses, which these things affect you no matter what. You know, we're flesh and bones. Like, and he basically took sticks and stones can break my bones, but words can never hurt me.
Yeah.
And embodied that in a song and just changed the words, as he often does. And so I just really appreciated that, especially on, it's one I go back to the most. Because it reminds me, again, we're just flesh and bone.
Talk about our favorite song.
I mean, I think it's the same for both of us, is it not?
I don't know.
You go.
I don't want to go first.
Let's see.
See, this is why I set it up. Not for me to go first.
Okay. I mean, clearly it's Palaces. It's Palaces for me. Like, Palaces is my jam. I will run that song into the ground every day.
My favorite is Outside.
Wow! Out of left field. What is this?
it's a really great song, and I think the production takes it over the edge for me, but the hook and the melodic.
Did it take a while for the hook to get to you? Because initially, like, I felt Palaces to me is the best chorus, but Outside took a couple times for me to listen because I was like, "What is this?"
Yeah, I just think the handling of the beat gives the perfect bed to flex on, and the hook kind of brings that melody where you need a little bit of relief from the lyrics. So it's just a great balanced song. So what's your arbitrary rating?
So what are we doing here? It is 5 chocolate cakes out of 5. This shit tastes like chocolate cake. 5 of them mugs.
I'm gonna give it 4 out of 5 lines of nose candy.
Wait, what? Booger sugar? Whoa! You know what? I'm changing my 5 chocolate cakes.
What?
I'm changing. This is for the first time. Just hold on, chocolate cake. Get off the screen. 5 Afro Samurais. But what do you guys rate the album? What do you like about it now that you've had a couple weeks to listen to it? What are some things that you found in this album that maybe we missed? Put them down in the comments, because I would love to learn more and more about this album. I'm definitely going to have this on rotation for a very, very long time. Go and like, comment, subscribe. We are on our way to 1,000 subscribers.
Yep.
We are continuously growing. We are glad to be back. Glad that you allow us to do this, or, well, glad that we do this every week. We appreciate you for coming and joining us, and we'll see you in the next one. A 1 and a 2, and
peace.